Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, a poem by Robert Frost. Robert Frost is one of the most famous American poets born in 1874. His poems are well known for its simplicity of language and grateful style. Frost has also won numerous prizes for literature. In this poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, he shows the delight and also ends the poem in wisdom, and it is definitely one of his best poems. Here, he expresses his joy when he sees a familiar sight on a winter evening while he is passing a forest. It is said that Nero had written down these lines on his table. The lines are, "But I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep." And these lines can relate to any one of us in our life. Robert Frost in this poem states that one has difficult duties to discharge, and a duty conscious person cannot indulge in any pleasures like even appreciating the beauty of nature endlessly. They'll appreciate it, but they will not have much time to enjoy that beauty throughout. And why he says it is the narrator is now attracted by the beauty of the snow filled forest. So he stops his horse and remains still, gazing at the scene. Both the horse and the owner of the woods seem to lack the aesthetic sense because the owner is not here in the forest but he is staying at his home. Maybe he is afraid of the cold wind and the snow and cannot face this weather. And we feel that compared to him, the horse is better because it trots in the freezing cold and it also has the capacity to appreciate the beauty of the snow. But now it is puzzled why the narrator is standing stock still. It even wonders whether anything has gone wrong with him. So it jingles its bell restlessly to hint to the narrator that he had better move on as his home is far away and it is evening time. Now the narrator is torn between the forest and the home. The forest, being coated with flakes of snow, has an uncommon beauty, and the narrator is truly entranced by the scene. But at the same time, he is aware that he cannot stay there forever. He cannot forget the commitments that await him at home. He has to cover a long distance before going home and lying down to sleep. He cannot immerse himself in aesthetic enjoyment, for he has obligations to himself, to his near and dear ones at home, and society at large. Now let's see the symbols employed in the poem. The forest might stand for life with all its mazes. The evening might represent the later stage in one's life. The poet would definitely like to spend the remaining few years of his life reflecting on this maze of life. But the many miles to be covered stands for the many responsibilities which remain to be fulfilled, and he cannot spend his life as he wishes. Sleep certainly symbolizes death. No one can wait for death, and death is something which reaches a person unexpectedly. But here he says he cannot think about death. He has to avoid the thoughts of death as they are still much important work to be transacted in the remaining part of one's life. Now let's go to the poem. He begins the poem saying, "Whose woods these are, I think I know." He says, I think I know who is the owner of the place where I am standing. His house is in the village though. That person is not here. He is in his home, which is in the village. So he will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. Therefore, I can stand here as long as I want, because the owner of the place will not know that I am standing and admiring his place, which is filled up with snow now. My little horse must think it cure to stop without a farmhouse near. But, he says, my little horse must think it strange for me to stop in a place where there is no farmhouse. Because if there is a farmhouse, maybe I can give some water for my horse to drink, give it a bath, and I also can take rest. This is what usually happens. But now I have stopped in a place where there is no farmhouse. So my horse is thinking it is strange. Because I have stopped between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year, because I have stopped between the forest in one side and a frozen lake on the other side, and above all it is evening time and it is the darkest evening of the year because it is winter time. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. Now the horse shakes his head and makes the bells to ring so that I can hear the sound, and it is his way of asking if there is any mistake. The only other sound are the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Other than this bell sound, the only sound which I can hear is the sound of the wind and the falling of the snowflakes. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. He says the woods are definitely lovely. The beauty is entrancing, but I cannot stand here for long and enjoy this because I have my own duties which I have to discharge, and all these duties I have to do before I go to sleep. And he says, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. He has repeated the same line twice to emphasize that each and every one of us have so many duties in our life to be discharged that they cannot wait and enjoy any pleasure in their life, because before sleeping they have to complete their duties. It's a beautiful poem by Robert Frost. If you have anything more to say or add up to what I have said, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.